This is Jermaine Thomas reporting live from South Valley Middle School, and this is Strive TV.
What advice can you give kids that they could do instead of using drugs and alcohol?
I would say hang out with their friends, maybe go to certain locations where they know those things aren't going to be available so they can stay away from them.
How about you?
I think it's important to have friends that you know are not using drugs and alcohol. And I think what Miss Woosley said also is go somewhere to the show or to a music venue, somewhere where you know that drugs and alcohol are not going to be there. It's difficult to say no. It's very hard to say no. If you put yourself in a situation where you know it's not going to be available, you give yourself a little bit more cushion.
What can kids do to stay away from drugs?
Like Miss Kelly said, hanging out with people that also don't do drugs is a very good idea because if you're around people that are doing it, you might have the peer pressure aspect. So you want to be sure that you're hanging out with people who aren't doing things like that. And if you are hanging out with people and they do start to do stuff like that, you need to tell yourself, hey, I might need to find some different friends. Even if those people give you a hard time, in the long run, you're going to be better off.
And it's very difficult to say no, especially when they're your friends. So you need to have this mental conversation. What am I going to do in that situation? What am I going to do if my best friend says, you probably need to have this cigarette with me. It's great. It doesn't make you sick. I love it. It makes me look so grown up. Or have some alcohol. It's in my Gatorade bottle. It'll be wonderful to get through PE like this. You just have to practice those and saying no. And it's not easy. And just saying no, we hear it all the time, and it's not that easy. So we have to kind of practice it ourselves mentally and imagine what that situation would be like, because it's really important to surround yourself with folks that don't do drugs or alcohol, because it's hard to say no.
Talking about that, how do children say no to drugs?
No. I don't want to do drugs because I want to be able to further myself and further my life. And I know that if I do get involved in drugs and alcohol, that my lifetime, how long I live, might be shorter, or something might happen to me. There might be an accident of some kind that happens because those things are involved. So that's how I would say no.
I agree. I would just say no, but I would say no, that's not the lifestyle that I'm choosing. I have many other options. And I have many other potential and abilities that I want to develop rather than, and the comment back to you is, oh, it won't hurt, it's just one time. But if you have smoked pot one time, it's all that much easier to do it the next time. If you drink one time, it's all that much easier to do it the next time. So I really advocate zero tolerance on drugs and alcohol, and practicing those conversations. How am I going to get out of this situation? Sometimes don't put yourself in the situation, but the other times is have a rehearsed response. I'm sorry, that's not part of my lifestyle, even if it's your good friend.
What are some things you could do to stay away from drugs and alcohol?
Change the topic or just concentrate on my schoolwork instead of doing drugs or stuff like that.
What do you do to stay away from drugs?
Concentrate on important stuff, because drug is just a way to mess up your life.
How do you say no to drugs?
I just say no in like commanding voice. I just say no.
What are some things that you can do instead of using drugs or alcohol?
So instead of doing those things, you can maybe hang out with friends, go to the movies, do a study session, go to the library. There are many things you can do instead of doing that.
Just like Ms. Elizabeth said, there's so many things that you can do than doing drugs or alcohol. Hanging out with your friends, picking up a hobby, like playing sports, basketball, soccer, art club, yearbook, power school, like doing this, cool TV film. There's so many things that you can do that will provide so much fun and just give you just that excitement to hang out with your friends.
What can you do to stay away from drugs?
So keep yourself busy. Do things that interest you, and of course, how they earlier said, don't hang out with people who do them, because that can get into peer pressure and telling you, oh, it's cool to do it, and then you eventually can say yes. As Miss Kelly said, it's very hard to say no, so avoiding that situation would be the best thing to do.
Exactly. Having or knowing who your friends are and having those good friends around you that won't influence you or give you that pressure to do those types of things. Making yourself busy in activities that are fun. So that'll definitely ensure that you stay away from those things.
What can you do to say no to drugs?
State your point, be clear, be loud. I don't want to do that, and I know it's harmful to my body, and it could be to everyone else, so I don't want to try it.
Exactly. Be confident. When you say no, it should be believable. So say no, and that's it. And one time, as long as you say it, they're going to stop asking.
What are some things that you can do instead of using drugs?
Exercise helps me out. It helps me good.
What can you say no to drugs?
I just say no. I focus on something else, ignore them, or change the topic.
And what do you do to stay away from drugs?
To stay away from drugs, I stay away from people that, like, if they ever ask me, I just stay away from them, ignore them. Like I said, change the topic, or just tell them something, an excuse or something like that.
I think it's you need to avoid hanging out with people that do them or that are around them, and talking to your parents about it. I know it seems uncool sometimes, but having that open communication and realizing the dangers of drugs. I think if kids knew what the long-term effects were of drug use, then they would not want to use them, and to realize it's okay to be scared of drugs. It's a scary thing, and when you get involved in them, addiction is a very serious illness. And so being informed about that and being okay saying I'm scared and I don't want to do them, and knowing that you're not uncool if you say no, is really important.
How do you say no to drugs?
I think you have to be honest. If people around you are really your friends, they'll understand. And if they don't understand and they tease you, then they're not people you want to be around. And I know it's hard because sometimes they're like the quote unquote cool kids that are trying to talk you into doing things. But in the long run, with the choices they're making, they're not going to be cool kids for long. A lot of people that use drugs end up breaking other laws and end up making really bad choices. So it's better just to stay away from them. And if people don't understand that you don't want to use drugs, then they're not your friends.
My name is Kayla Murillo.
My name is Jermaine Thomas.
My name is Isabella Rodriguez.
And you've been watching
Strive TV!